Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're covering the single deadliest disaster in human history. Grab a snack. In just 4 years, this thing killed somewhere between a third and half of all of Europe. Picture your whole class. Now imagine half of them just gone. That's the Black Death. We're talking maybe 50 million people, possibly 200 million worldwide. Nobody could even count. Keep an eye on this number. It only ever goes one way, down. The scariest part? The killer was almost too small to see. Meet Yersinia pestis, a tiny bacterium, absolutely microscopic and absolutely ruthless. It lives in fleas. The fleas live on rats. The rats live basically everywhere near people. Flea bites the rat, rat dies. Flea jumps to a human, flea bites the human. Human is now in trouble, one bite. That's the whole delivery system. A bug this small ended the Middle Ages. But to reach Europe, our little killer needed a ride. A very, very long ride. The story starts thousands of miles away in Central Asia, around the year 1346. For years, the plague simmers in Asia, riding rodents across the wide open steppe. Then it finds the greatest travel network of the medieval world, the Silk Road. Trade caravans carry silk, spices, gold, and, for free, plague-infected fleas. Every trading post is a new stop. Every stop means more rats, more fleas, more dead. The disease rides the trade routes west, straight toward the edge of Europe. It arrives at a Black Sea port called Kaffa, and here the story gets genuinely insane. Kaffa is under siege by a Mongol army. Classic medieval siege. Walls, catapults, the works. Then plague breaks out inside the Mongol camp. The soldiers start dropping fast. The Mongol commander has a monstrous idea, maybe the worst idea in this whole video. He loads his own plague-dead soldiers into the catapults and flings the corpses over the city walls. This is, as far as we know, one of the very first biological weapons in history. The bodies rain into the streets. The plague pours into the trapped city. Terrified merchants pile onto ships and flee across the sea to Italy. Bad move. They bring the plague with them. Below deck, rats. On the rats, fleas. In the fleas, death. In 1347, 12 ships dock in Sicily, sailors already dead or dying at the oars. Horrified officials scream at them to leave. Too late. The Black Death has landed in Europe. From Sicily, it explodes. Italy, France, Spain. In months, not years. The plague moves as fast as people do, and people are fleeing everywhere. Fleeing doesn't help. You just carry the fleas to the next town and infect that one too. Watch the number. It starts falling, and it will not stop for years. By 1348, it reaches England. By 1349, it's everywhere. Even remote Iceland and Greenland. Nobody understood germs. Nobody understood fleas. They had no idea what was killing them. Whole villages emptied out. Some had no survivors at all. Zero. Ships drifted at sea with entire crews dead. Still sailing. Steered by nobody. In the cities, so many died so fast that normal burials completely broke down. Carts rolled through the streets as men called out, "Bring out your dead." Bodies were dumped into enormous open pits. Plague pits. Layer on layer. So what actually happened to a person who caught it? Fair warning, it's grim. It starts mild, a headache, chills, feeling a bit off, just like a normal flu. Then come the buboes, huge, painful, egg-sized swellings in the neck, armpits, and groin. That's where bubonic comes from. The swellings could turn black and burst. The skin blotched dark from bleeding underneath. That darkness is the black in Black Death. From first symptom to dead was often just 3 to 5 days, sometimes less. That's the common version. There were 2 even faster, even worse ones. Pneumonic plague hit the lungs. You could cough it straight onto someone else. No flea needed. With that one, you could feel fine at breakfast and be dead by dinner. And septicemic plague hit the blood directly. That version killed almost everyone it touched. Catch that one and your survival odds rounded down to basically 0. So people ran to their doctors, desperate for a cure. About those doctors, oh, you are going to love medieval medicine. Meet the Plague Doctor. That terrifying bird mask outfit? It's a real historical costume. Long beak, dark robe, wide hat, and a wooden cane to poke patients from a safe distance. The beak was stuffed with flowers and herbs. They thought plague spread through bad smells. They called it miasma, poisonous, stinky air. Sniff nice smells, stay safe. That was the theory. It was completely wrong, but at least it was harmless. The actual cures were worse. Cure number 1, bloodletting. Cut the patient and drain out the bad blood. So you took a dying, weakened person, then removed even more of their blood. Genius. Cure 2, strap a live chicken to the swellings to draw out the sickness. Cure 3, pop the buboes and pack the wound with, no joke, dried human poop. Cure 4, some doctors told people to sit in a sewer and just breathe the stench in. The logic, fight bad smells with worse smells. Overpower the plague. It did not work. Other cures. Drink your own urine, rub raw onions on yourself, or eat crushed emeralds. Rich people ate the emeralds. Turns out money can't buy you out of not knowing germs exist. Not one of these did anything. The doctors died at exactly the same rate as everyone else. Watch the number. Nobody can slow it down. And when medicine fails this badly, people stop trusting doctors and start looking for someone to blame. The Black Death didn't just kill bodies, it broke society's brain. People were sure God was punishing them, so some decided to punish themselves first. Enter the flagellants, crowds who marched town to town whipping their own backs bloody. They believed suffering on purpose would make God call off the plague. It didn't, and gathering huge crowds during a pandemic actually spread it faster. Oops. Then came the darkest part. Frightened people wanted a human being to blame. Vicious, false rumors spread that Jewish communities had poisoned the wells. It was a complete lie, but terrified mobs did not care about the truth. Across Europe, thousands of Jewish people were attacked and whole communities were destroyed. One of history's ugliest lessons, a scared crowd hunting for someone to blame is its own disaster. Meanwhile, normal life just stopped. Fields went unplowed, shops shut, bells rang non-stop, parents abandoned sick children, priests refused to visit the dying, everyone for themselves. Some people gave up entirely and just partied, sure they'd be dead soon anyway. Others locked their doors and never came out. Both groups often ended up the same, dead. So many priests died that the church ran out and had to rush in untrained replacements. Graveyards overflowed. The plague pits filled up. There was nowhere left to put people. By 1351, 4 years in, the wave finally starts to fade. It burns out, mostly because it had already killed everyone easy to reach. So the plague passes. Europe counts the dead. The damage is almost unimaginable. A third to a half of everyone gone. Some regions lost even more. You'd think this is where the world just collapses. But here's the twist. The Black Death accidentally reshaped the world, and some of it for the better. Before the plague, most people were peasants tied to a lord's land. That's feudalism. Peasants worked the land for almost nothing. There were tons of them. They had zero power. Then half of them died. Suddenly workers were rare. And rare things are valuable. For the first time, a peasant could say, pay me more, or I'll go work for someone who will. Lords who once owned people now had to compete for them. Wages shot up. With fewer workers, people invented labor-saving tools. It quietly nudged technology forward. The old rigid system, peasant serves lord forever, started cracking apart. Historians see the Black Death as a huge shove toward the end of feudalism itself. It also shook faith in the church, which had promised protection and prayers that plainly failed. People started asking harder questions and trusting their own eyes over old authority. That questioning spirit helped set the stage for the Renaissance that followed. And doctors, humiliated, slowly began actually studying disease instead of guessing at smells. It took centuries, but this catastrophe nudged medicine toward real science. So the deadliest disaster in history also cracked open the door to the modern world. So what do we take from all this? 1. Wash your hands. Germs are real, and it only took us 500 years to figure that out. 2. When everyone's scared, don't go hunting for someone to blame. That never ends well. 3. Even the worst catastrophes can reshape the world in ways nobody saw coming. The Black Death was an ending for tens of millions of people. That part is just tragic, but it was also a strange, brutal beginning for the world we live in now. Europe would take 150 years to recover its numbers, but it did recover. It always does. That's kind of the whole story of us. We break and then we rebuild. Tiny flea, whole world changed. History is weird like that. Oh, and before you go, hit subscribe so you don't miss the next one. And while you're here, check out our other 2 videos. One on Timothy Dexter, the man who failed his way into a fortune, and one on the entire Odyssey. Go give them a watch. Thanks for watching, everyone. Wash your hands, be nice to each other, and don't catapult anybody. See you next time. Bye. I'm gonna go not touch any rats.